So today I'm going to talk to you about stretching. The benefits of stretching, who needs to stretch?
Everybody.
Yes, everybody. Why stretch? But before I do that, I want to talk to you about Pilates. I stand up here every day or every week and say, I teach Pilates. So what is Pilates? A lot of people don't know. It has become very popular. When I started in 1980, it was just elite athletes that were doing Pilates, and I went to the main studio. So I have this little animation that I found on YouTube, and it has the history of Pilates. It's kind of cute. A couple of things I want you to look out for is it talks about Martha Graham. That's the company I dance for. And it also talks about Carola Trier, and she was one of the elders. And she was my very first teacher. So my roots go very strong in the technique, and I want you to see this little animation. Hopefully it all goes well.
He met his future wife, a young nurse named Clara. The couple founded a studio in New York City and taught and supervised their students well into the 1960s.
This is the end. I need help.
Method, which he and Clara originally called contrology,
Marty to the rescue.
to control muscles.
This is
It
the end.
focused attention on core postural muscles that help keep the body balanced and provide
There we
support
go.
for the spine. In particular, Pilates exercises teach a way.
Here it is.
There we
Sorry,
go.
Thank you very much.
It's okay, we'll cut all that out.
Okay.
The history of Pilates. Joseph Pilates was a fitness guru and inventor, born in 1883 near the northern German city of Dusseldorf. His father was a prize-winning gymnast of Greek ancestry. His mother was a naturopath who believed in stimulating the body to heal itself without drugs or surgery. His mother's healing philosophy and father's physical achievements were to greatly influence Pilates' ideas on therapeutic exercise. Pilates was a sickly child, suffering from asthma, rickets, and rheumatic fever. To make matters worse, the bigger children at school taunted him by making fun of his name. He became determined to overcome his physical disadvantages and dedicated his life to improving his health and strength. He focused on breathing techniques to assist with his asthma, and by exercising outside in his shorts, was able to cure his rickets, which is caused by a vitamin D deficiency. By the age of 14, he was fit enough to pose for anatomical charts. He loved skiing and being outdoors. He studied bodybuilding, yoga, martial arts, and gymnastics. You can recognize the influence of these activities in the Pilates technique. For example, the long stretch and up stretch on the reformer are drawn from downward facing dog and plank in yoga. He uses punching and side kick movements similar to martial arts, and some exercises on the chair are similar to gymnastic ring work. The natural movements of animals also inspired him, and this can be seen in exercises such as the cat stretch on the Cadillac. In 1912, Joseph Pilates moved to England and earned a living as a professional boxer, circus performer, and self-defense trainer at Scotland Yard. During World War I, however, the British authorities interned him, along with other German citizens, in a British enemy citizens camp on the Isle of Man. The health conditions in these camps were poor, but Pilates insisted that everyone in his cell block participate in daily exercise routines, which he had devised to help maintain their physical and mental well-being. Some of the injured German soldiers were too weak to get out of bed. Not content to leave his comrades lying idle, Pilates took springs from the beds and attached them to the headboards and footboards of the iron bed frames, turning them into equipment that provided a type of resistance exercise for his bedridden patients. These mechanized beds were the forerunners of the spring-based exercise machines, such as the Cadillac and the Reformer, for which the Pilates method is known today. Pilates legend has it that during the Great Flu epidemic of 1918, not a single soldier under his care died, remarkable considering the terrible living conditions of the internment camps. After the war, Joseph returned to Germany and collaborated with experts in dance and physical exercise, such as Rudolf Laban. In Hamburg, he trained police officers. He was also pressured to train members of the German army, but left his native Germany, disappointed with its political and social conditions, and immigrated to the United States. En route, he met his future wife, a young nurse named Clara. The couple founded a studio in New York City and taught and supervised their students well into the 1960s. His method, which he and Clara originally called contrology, encouraged the mind to control muscles. It focused attention on core postural muscles that help keep the body balanced and provide support for the spine. In particular, Pilates exercises teach awareness of breath and of alignment of the spine, and strengthen the deep torso and abdominal muscles. Pilates came to believe that modern lifestyle, bad posture, and inefficient breathing lay at the roots of poor health. Joseph Pilates' New York gym put him in close proximity to a number of dance studios, which led to his discovery by prominent members of the dance community, including George Balanchine and Martha Graham. The Pilates repertoire itself has many references to classical ballet and also the Graham technique. For example, the ballet stretches on the Cadillac and ladder barrel, the round back and straight back in the stomach massage series on the Reformer. Many dancers, actors, and famous people in New York depended on Pilates for the strength and grace it developed, as well as for its rehabilitative effects. Joseph Pilates wrote 2 books, Your Health and Return to Life Through Contrology, and was also a prolific inventor. He passed away in 1967 at the age of 83 in New York. He had maintained a fit physique throughout his life, and photographs show that he was in remarkable physical condition in his older years. He's also said to have had a flamboyant personality. He smoked cigars, liked to party, and wore his exercise briefs wherever he wanted, even on the streets of New York. It's said that he was an intimidating, though deeply committed instructor. Although Joseph and Clara had no children, his legacy and exercise techniques were preserved and developed through the work of his disciples. These disciples, who started out as their apprentices, are now called the elders. Until exercise science caught up with the Pilates method in the 1980s, it was chiefly dancers and elite athletes who utilised the Pilates technique. Now, Pilates has made it to the mainstream, with its health benefits and mental discipline widely recognised as being of great benefit to the health and well-being of all types of people, no matter their shape, size, gender or age. Today, Joseph Pilates' teachings are carried on by the Pilates elders, their prodigy, and by a large group of contemporary teachers all over the world.
So,
Very nice.
Thank you.
I send that to every new client that I get. I send them books
and other diet.
To be free and flexible and creative was really essential to what I wanted to make, and I didn't
Party has
find
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. Yeah, so I send that video to every new student I have, because it's a cute little way of talking about the history, and you can see that I'm deeply embedded in the history. I've been teaching since 1980. I started with classical. So what is classical? Classical was invented by Joseph Pilates 100 years ago. That's before we had phones that pull us forward. Okay, so I think some of the exercises in classical are contraindicated for many people, because why, if you have kyphotic posture, forward head, why would you do exercises that get you deeply embedded in that motion? That doesn't make sense to me. So I teach more contemporary. Everyone's a puzzle, so when they come in, I give them a full assessment. The exercises are different for everyone. I just teach privately now. I've taught in many different situations. I've trained teachers before. So I have a little joke about teachers. So when I was training teachers when I was in larger studios, I said, it sounds good if you've been teaching for 5 years. You know, your students will like that. If you've been teaching for 10 to 15, wow, they really know what they're doing. When you get into 35, 40 years, you just sound old. But am I too young to say I'm old, Bob? I don't know. What do you think?
Yes, you're too young to say that you're
Okay, thank you. I still pull it. So that's why everyone is different. The mind moves the body. It is written metaphorically on my studio wall, and it's something that I really believe in. The exercises are different than going to a gym and watching TV and mindlessly doing something. So you have to think when you take my class. It's a lot of concentration. So I'd like to give you a simple exercise. It's not hard, but it's a way of how the mind moves the body. Okay, so I'm going to use my right hand. If you want to mirror me, you would use your left. If you don't want to mirror me, that's fine. You can be seated. So one hand is going forward, It's going up, forward, down, up, forward, down, up, forward. The other hands, up, back, down, up, back, down, up, back, down. Now put them together. Can you do it?
Yep.
No.
No, here.
No.
I can do it
You're
with my fingers.
close.
I can do it with my fingers. I can do it both ways.
Okay, so close your eyes and think of the hand that's going forward. So it's going up, forward, down, and again, and up, forward, down. Last time, and up, forward, down. Just think, don't do it. Just think, I'm trying to, it's a point, the mind moves the body. Don't move your hands. Do not move your hands. You're thinking of it. Okay, now the other hand, you're thinking of it. It's going up, back, and down. Up, back, and down. Up, back, and down. Up, back, and down. Now think of both of them. One is going forward, the other one's going back. See if you can do that in your mind's eye. Don't move. That's the point of it. Now open your eyes and see if you can do it. Together. Easier, right?
No.
Well, you're hopeless, I'm sorry.
I do this for a living, the mind stuff, but, you know. I'm gonna try.
Wow, that's hard.
The pattern
It's
is
harder
not
than
an
it
easy
seems.
pattern, but it really helps if you think about it instead of just trying to do it. So that's the point of the mind moving the body. Sorry it didn't work for you.
Yes. Maybe a simpler
Me neither.
starter
Sorry.
point.
Just practice.
Okay, so this is the audience participation part. So what are some of the benefits of stretching?
Limberness,
What's that?
to be limber.
Why is that
Flexibility.
important?
Well, I think it's important, you know, if I want to be able to reach for something, I'm able
Right.
to do that. Maybe it helps my balance. and stuff.
Absolutely. How does it relate to in gait? Walking?
Simple thing like you stumble. If you're limber, you can catch yourself.
Well, that's very true.
Up the car bumpers,
Helps your
the
posture.
step 5 inches up or down. All of
Right,
that is
yes.
critical.
So mobility is very important for just daily life. It's not about just stretching, I want to be limber. But even for gait, so if you're not limber in your hips or your thoracic rotation, you're going to take little steps. A lot of times, they say it leads to shuffle, which can lead to falling. So it's important that you keep up your stretching for many reasons. What other type of things are the benefits of stretching?
You don't injure yourself.
Oxygen, yes.
Posture. but
Posture,
oxygen,
yes.
too.
Oxygen.
Well, it does oxygenate your
Yeah.
Water.
I think it would make me feel better.
Yes, it's a mood enhancer for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. If you had a good stretch, doesn't it feel good? I mean, so the people that are inflexible, let's say, how often do you stretch? No, never. Well, why not? It hurts. And the people that are really flexible, they stretch every day. Why? Because it feels so great. I love it the way it feels. There is such a thing called hypermobile. I like to tell that to inflexible people. You know, you could be hypermobile, so that's too much elasticity in the joints itself. And for those, I have to really stabilize them because you don't want them to stretch even more. A lot of the dancers have that issue. So I have to hold them back, and they don't really like that, but
What does that cause, Kathy?
well, you get arthritis faster.
Kathy, I have a question.
Yeah.
Well, problem is everybody where they're working at home in the computer and they're not out and about and they're sitting in one position all day long.
Right, so I'm
Seems
gonna,
like stretching would help in that condition.
absolutely, we're gonna stretch our performance today. Ooh. So I'm gonna talk about that.
Kathy,
Yes,
I love to stretch.
Yeah.
And I always stretch after I have a workout.
uh-huh,
But if I'm not working out and I'm cold,
mm-hmm,
I can't. I mean, if I try to stretch when I'm cold, I mean, I'm really in pain. It's not a good idea.
uh-huh.
What do you suggest how can I get warm enough to be able to stretch?
I'll walk around the block or do
That
some,
doesn't do it for me.
yeah. You can do, I'm gonna talk about the different types of stretching next.
Okay, good.
So passive would be good for
Okay,
that. So different types of stretching, one is ballistic. That's kind of old fashioned. Nobody really does that, do they? Do you know what it is? It's like doing something really fast. It's like somebody yelling at you. Is that gonna loosen them up? You You know, it's like your mother-in-law. So it's really fast and jerky, and for the fibers, it tightens them. It goes the opposite direction. So don't ever do that, and we won't be doing that today.
I think you should jump rope.
There's static stretching. That's just holding for a long time. A lot of the dancers in the studio will do like a second position, so like a straddle, have their face straight down. That's not actually kind of hard to do, but they'll hold it for 15, 20 minutes, and then they get up to do a straddle jump, and they have no strength. So static is fine, but you only want to hold it for about 30 seconds. Don't hold it for a long time because you just lose all your control. They love to do that. I try to stop them every time I see them in the hall. There's passive stretching. Passive is good if you use imagery, and we'll get into that. Passive feels good, I think, and I like it when you're really warmed up, or you can do it when you're cold too. It's just easy. There's dynamic stretching. Dynamic stretching is when you're moving through a stretch, whatever you're doing, and ta-da! You can pass this around. So this is one of my springs. It's a leg spring, and in my studio we do all dynamic stretching. So I have all different kinds of springs: arm springs, leg springs. I call the big guns as a heavy leg spring. So just give it a pull. So if your foot would be in the spring, the strap, sorry, and you'd be doing something with your leg. It stretches you and strengthens you. So imagine you're stretching your hamstring, and the bed is going this way. So the bed's going this way, and the spring is going that way. So that gives you a lot of stretch on the eccentric, and on the concentric, when you're going towards a contraction, it strengthens you. So you get stretch and strength at the same time. And then there's something called P&F, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. I love that type of stretching. It's where you use the muscle to release it. You use it to release it. So you're strengthening and stretching. And it's a very effective way of stretching. It's sort of my favorite, other than the springs. Okay, so today we're going to stretch a little bit. And we're going to stretch the piriformis. Does anybody know where the piriformis is? You probably do. Everybody's so smart these days. Oh, you don't? Okay. Okay, this one. So it's right here. So it's not in your buttocks, but it's lower than the glute. It is, the action of the piriformis is external rotation. So ballet dancers do a lot of turnouts. So they get tight in their piriformis. You might be tight in your piriformis because you stand with one foot turned out or both feet turned out. And you're like, why am I always tight there? It's because you're constantly using the piriformis. It's part of 6 deep rotator muscles. It's the largest. So you can also so it could be overused or underused. So if you're sitting in a chair all day, you're not working your glutes or your piriformis. You're overworking your hip flexors. The hip flexors are in a contracted position. So anyway, a lot of people get sore there, and it's because of underuse, not overuse. The piriformis, the sciatic nerve runs through the piriformis. And so if you've ever had sciatica, you know what I mean. Sciatica is different from piriformis syndrome. Sciatica comes from your back. L4-5 can be lower, and it feels like this sharp pain. It can go all the way down your leg. It's very painful. But if you have piriformis syndrome, you usually just feel it in the piriformis. So 2 different types of people, I would do 2 different types of exercises for them. So I get really specific with it. So piriformis syndrome, I'd stretch your piriformis. If they had sciatica, I would do a lot of strengthening in here first before I touch the piriformis. So that's just an idea of how I work. Okay, who wants to stretch?
Oh, sure. You
Okay.
stand up?
Nope.
No, we can, it's a sit down.
It's a sit
chair
down
exercise. Love it.
If you have any knee issues, back issues, whatever issues, I can give you a modification, or you don't have to do it, okay? So you're just gonna have a seat. Can you see me okay? And you're gonna bring your top of your ankle will be on the leg.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's a figure 4. If your leg is way up here, you really need to stretch, okay? So if you're here. So first we're gonna do a static stretch. So you want to make sure your hips are fairly square. And you're going to gently press down on the leg and hold, 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 hold. Making sure, can you see me okay? You can stand up to see me for this part of it. That your lower back is straight. You should never do a stretch like this with a round lower back. It's too much on the vertebra. So just kind of pressing forward, hold, 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 and get a stretch.
Oh, yeah, it hurts.
No, it feels good.
It feels good.
And let's do the other side. It's a delicious stretch.
I'm in trouble.
I know.
Too high. You don't.
That's.
Yeah, my climb won't work either.
Well, it's just, yeah, it's.
Oh, yeah, you're tight. Sorry.
Supposed to smile when you do this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or grimace.
So it's, but I feel it here.
So that's an interesting point. So you're going to feel it wherever you're the tightest. So you're feeling it in your IT band, iliotibia. Once you loosen up the iliotibia, it might go to your piriformis.
Okay.
So it's not an absolute where you're going to feel the stretch. Okay. So the next one.
Yeah. I feel blood going.
Yeah, so the next one we're going to do is a real feel-good one. It's called a passive stretch. So go back to that same position. And where you're feeling the stretch, I want you to imagine an ice cube there, where you're feeling the stretch. With your exhale, you're going to feel that ice cube melt. And kind of lean forward, your ragdoll, you're melting into the stretch. You're going to feel a heavy blanket on your back. With your exhale, that blanket is going to get a little bit heavier and warmer as the ice cube is melting. Hold 3, 2, 1. And other side. Doesn't that feel good? Mm-hmm. It's like I'm talking to my husband. It's not I still love it. Other side, ice cube. Close your eyes. You're a ragdoll melting into the stretch. So that's passive stretching. Are you getting a stretch?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to do dynamic stretching. So same position on your first side. I've wondered how many times in my career I've said your first side or your second side. It's a lot. Anyway, so now you can push down gently and then release it. And push down gently and release it. Good job, Hans. And push down gently and release it, keeping your lower back flat. And last time, and release. Other side. And push down and release.
Yeah, it is.
And push down. What are you saying?
We're saying one side's harder than the other.
That's very common. When you do Pilates, you find out you're not completely symmetrical.
Yeah.
So if I see someone who can, especially for the dancers, they can get their leg in extension really high on one side and the other side they can't. I'm like, it's okay to stretch that side that is not working, because they were always told they have to do everything the same, and they're very good little soldiers. They work hard. But we're trying to get balance. So do your uneven side first, and then go back to it. So left, right, left, for instance. And then the last one, what do we do, is PNF. So PNF is going to look a little different. So you're going to sit with your legs parallel, and if you're using your right leg, you're going to have your right hand to the outside of your right thigh. You're going to turn that leg out. So you're pushing your leg to the right, and your hand is saying, no, you're not going anywhere. So it's isometric contraction. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so hold, hold, hold. And then place the foot on top and passively stretch. And one more time, pushing out, engaging. So think of that muscle right underneath the glute. Push, 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 and release. Okay, other side. Have any questions? Push, 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 and release. Other side. It's okay. It's a little different than you. Okay, so my business is, I'm the only one now. I've had other studios where I've had teachers, and so now it's all mine. So it's not really about me, it's about how I teach the method. but I try to keep up with my practice. So I have my grand finale here. I'm not warmed up, it's early and I'm old, so. So if you can see me. So Pilates gives you strength with flexibility. So here's strength, here's flexibility. So do you have the ability to sit?
Come on, Dave, I want
No,
to see.
yeah.
Do you have the ability to sit
Wait
on
for
the?
it.
Do you have the ability to sit on the floor with your legs straight and your back upright?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, this is taking it up a notch. So,
I can get on the floor, I just can't get up.
so here's the flexibility, and ooh, here's the strength. Da, da.
Well done.
I'm almost done. So, do you think you know anybody who would like to feel the benefits of Pilates?
Yes.
Posture of breath, flexibility with strength, feeling good. When people come out of my studio, they feel taller, more limber, they feel good. I don't get them to the point where like, oh man, she really kicked me today. I don't work that way. So thank you for your time, I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity, and that's my